Welcome back to the Cannabis News Florida interviews or conversations at Benzinga Cannabis Convention, Capital Convention. Very, very interesting. People who, as I told you earlier, people who have money and people that are looking to get money. That's kind of what this conference is all about. And it's a very, very good one. Probably one of the better ones that are around. So I want to introduce you to Steve Gutterman. Steve, good to see you.
Nice to see you.
And we're talking Steve. Steve is the CEO of Falcon Brands. Steve, tell us a little bit about Falcon Brands.
Yeah, Falcon Brands is one of the largest cannabis companies in California. We've done over $100 million a year in revenue for the last 3 years. We have 3 of the top 10 selling brands and have had those consistently each of the last 3 years. We're vertically integrated. We do a little bit of cultivation, though we want to do a lot more. Mm-hmm. We do processing, manufacturing, distribution, though we only distribute our own products. Mm-hmm. We have a couple of retail stores and we're opening more. Uh-huh. And so we have this great platform and we are looking to expand.
And being in the state of Florida, we were chatting that Florida may be a target market for you within the near future too.
Well, look, we love some of the characteristics of Florida. They're like California, right? With a massive population, right. A lot of tourism, great weather. So there are some really interesting components to the state. The way that it exists right now, where it's a race for the limited licenses, right. And those licenses are very expensive. It's not our top priority, but we're watching the state closely, and as that shifts to rec and maybe less limited licensure, we're very interested.
That's good. That's good. So tell us what in the California market you hear so many different things about. Good, bad, indifferent. Yeah. They say a lot of maybe like oversupply in California. So what does the California market look like today? And how do you protect yourself from some of the negative stuff going on in California in other states?
Yeah, well, there's a little bit of truth to everything that is said about California, right? First of all, it's the largest cannabis market in the world.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, it's $5 billion of legal cannabis sales, and then you got another $10 billion of illicit sales, and that's really a baseline, right? So that $10 billion eventually becomes legal, right? And so it's a massive, massive market. That said, it's very hard. It's a difficult market to be in, and really, to be successful in the state, you need to, number one, have products that people love. You can't fake that. Right. And then number two, you have to operate with some amount of scale. And if you have scale, like we do, it can be a great market. We a market of a tremendous opportunity, and one that we think we can continue to build upon. But if you and I, Charlie, were just going to go start a cannabis company in California, right. if we were going to hang our shingle for a single dispensary or something like that, I'd say,
be eaten alive.
Maybe we should stay in a different state. Right. Yeah, we'd be eaten alive. Right. Yeah. So it's a state where if you've gotten to a certain level, which we have, and some of these, and 2 or 3 other companies as well, right. It's great. But it's hard to get there.
Yeah, I would, branding in any industry is very important.
Yeah.
And it's beginning, not only the branding part of it, the loyalty part of it, getting the buyers to go in and ask for your product, not just haphazardly go in and buy it.
Yeah.
And that's very big to be able to do that. So tell us, if do you grow everything that you produce, or do you buy, and how does the California market work from different growers and then process?
Yeah, California is different than some other states. What you see in cannabis markets is sometimes you have this dynamic where when states start, you have to grow the cannabis that you sell in...
Just like Florida. Yeah, Florida, same way, right.
Now, Colorado was the same way, and then ultimately that law changed. Just as it will, I suspect, change in Florida.
Right.
And so for us, we grow a little bit, but we want to grow a lot more. Meaning, to give you a little bit of context, we go through 8 to 10,000 pounds of flower a month. It's a lot, right? 4 to 5 tons. But we only cultivate 400 pounds of that.
Okay. Yeah.
And so one of our top strategic imperatives this year is to add cultivation so that we're insourcing our supply chain.
Is that also to protect product-wise also?
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
Because even though we've developed this great wholesale group and we're literally the largest wholesale buyer in the largest state in the country, still there are some farms that you go to them one month and you go back to them the next month and they say, oh yeah, sorry, we we already sold the good. We sold the good stuff to Billy, who just came a couple days ago. And so, absolutely, for financial reasons and also for strategic reasons, it's important to control your supply chain.
Are you affected by the weather change going on in California now? And not to mention the fires and the heat and the droughts, that type of stuff, or not much? Not
really. We do a combination of outdoor, indoor, and greenhouse.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so you'd see on indoor products on the margin, COGS going up because utility prices go up. Obviously, on outdoor, you do see some, but there's so much outdoor supply that. Sometimes you see a little scarcity it's a little blip because of the fires, but not that's not endemic.
So for people who are watching this, or maybe my audience is really a Florida audience, tell us a couple of your brands that people might know.
Sure. So Crew, Grand Cru, High Garden, Littles, Jetpacks. We'll focus on Crew for a second. Crew is spelled C-R-U, like the French wine appellation, right? So it's a double entendre. Crew, as in hanging out with your crew, and then Crew, as in really the finest grapes, or in this case, the finest flower. And that's the approach we take for that product. We hand select all of our products, and we make sure that it's stuff that our team would love, and so customers would love.
So in that, and kind of going not off base on it, but you have a variety of different companies, I can speak from the state of Florida, that are premium type brands, and then everyday type brands based on pricing. How do you cover the gamut?
We do.
Of a regular kind of the what I would call the workman's brand, and then the guy who's driving the Rolls Royce brand.
Yeah, we do. We cover the gamut. If you go into a dispensary in California, our products cover the whole gamut, from the left to the right, from the top to the bottom. That's important. And I think that the commonality that runs through all of our products is that, number one, there's this authenticity where all of them are created passionately, lovingly by people who use the product, who love the product, who care about the product. So you have that authenticity on the one hand, and then on the other hand, we've got a team of experts from Ford and Nordstrom's and Kohl's and Pepsi, and so if we tell a dispensary that we're going to get you a pallet of goods at 10 a.m. on a Thursday, we're there at 9:58 on a Thursday.
Right.
And both of those things are important when you are fulfilling a brand promise.
Right, absolutely. And again, if you make the promise, deliver on the promise.
Right.
Or else you're not in business the next day.
That's funny. That when you say it that way, that shouldn't necessarily be a thing.
But it is.
But it's a thing. In cannabis, that's a thing.
That's
a
right.
differentiator.
You never, when you see that happening, even here, when dispensaries will come out with a brand, a new product that they've had, and they have a limited amount of it, and you publicize it, and people walk in not at 9 o'clock, but at 2:30, and you're sold out, they're not happy.
Yeah.
They're really not happy.
No, that's right.
So you really have to watch what you're selling to protect your brand and to protect the people that you're selling to.
You're exactly right. And I will tell you, that's exactly why we're proud, not just of producing on a one-off basis some of the top-selling brands. We're even more proud of the fact that we've kept them in the top 5, in the top 10 for 3 years. That's hard. And to your point, it's not just coming up with something in the lab and creating something that people like. It's doing that repetitively and making sure that you get to the point where customers are relying on you and successfully validating that trust.
I always tell people, when people were in the state, and the state just, when everyone went into hemp, the big hemp business, and I was there at the beginning at a hemp conference, and you had a farmer who converted his tomatoes into hemp.
Yeah.
Okay. And they were talking about it, and says, I can grow a tomato that looks like the same tomato every time.
Yeah.
He says, I started with hemp, and it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's just not the same.
Yeah.
So you really have to watch what you grow to be able to produce that same product day in and day out. That's very close to what people want.
It's funny, I got into cannabis about 5 years ago. And so I guess by that measure, I am a newbie compared to some of the people at this conference.
Absolutely right, absolutely.
But I'm probably a veteran compared to a lot. I had 5 years in cannabis is 35 years in real time.
It's like dog life.
That's right. That's right. And I remember when I first got in, I thought, how hard could it be? It's a widget. And it is a widget, but it's a widget that you got to be a good farmer and a manufacturer and a producer and a distributor and a retailer and a brander, and you have to understand the regulatory constraints that exist in this industry that don't exist in any other industry.
Absolutely, correct.
So as it turns out, it's rather difficult to put a great product on the market and keep it on the market year after year.
Right, and branding wise. So you could talk about in California being a big market, and everyone's talking about the Safe Banking Act that everyone would like to come about.
Yeah.
How is your banking relations, and is it costing you more than it should at this more time?
No. Actually, there's a handful of state charter banks in California that operate, and so we have full banking, and California, like many other states, used to be a cash industry.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's really not anymore.
Are credit cards being able to be used now?
No, so there's
ways to get around that.
So you're right. There's some limitations.
Right.
Would I like to see the SAFE Act pass? Is the 6th time the charm? Yes, sure, I'd love it, and maybe it is. And I think, but for us, I think the passage of the SAFE Act is going to be less around the depository side of the business, the cash handling side of the business, because that we have covered. It's I'm more excited because I think it will help open the flow of capital into the industry. And so if you look at even senior debt, it's priced 500, 600 basis points higher than other industries with comparable assets and
limited. I mean, it's
limited, right? So, could the SAFE Act chip away at some of those walls and provide better capital, more access to capital? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I've heard some nightmare stories a couple of years back from some people in Chicago with a dispensary. Yeah, and the pricing that was as crazy. Right. But there's workarounds to be able to get it done. So.
Sure.
So tell us again a little bit about if people want to contact you, your company, your brands, and if they're ever in California, what to look for.
Yeah. Well, look, we're in.
You're more than California, right?
Right now, we're just California.
Okay. All right.
We're just California, and we think there's an amazing opportunity to expand in California. Mm-hmm. California, for being such a huge market, is incredibly fragmented. Mm-hmm. We're one of the largest companies in the state. We have a 1 or 2% market share.
Really?
That's it. So there's great opportunities to expand here. Now, then we would look to expand in geographically proximate states that have similar characteristics. Mm-hmm. Oregon, Washington, Colorado, Nevada. We like Florida, but maybe a little down the road.
Down the road, right? Yeah.
And as to where to find us, if you go to California, walk into almost any dispensary in the state, ask for Crew, High Garden, Little's, You'll see them on the shelf, and we're active on social media. We love feedback. So anybody listening who's going to California, please try our products and shoot us a line and tell us what you think.
Okay, so when you walk into the dispensary, say Steve sent me to get some crew.
Totally.
That's great. Steve, I appreciate you stopping by today. Thanks much.
Thank you. Thank you.